Are you over 65 and yet notice that your muscles are weakening with time despite drinking coffee every morning? Your legs may feel weaker than they used to. You may be walking a bit more slowly, or climbing stairs requires more work. This is the startling reality. Age isn't the only factor contributing to this, nor is a protein deficiency. Reversing muscle loss, reviving your strength, and preventing sarcopenia, the age-related decrease of muscle mass and function, can all be achieved with a simple addition to your morning coffee. And I'm not referring to spending hours at the gym or purchasing pricey pills. I'm referring to a natural substance supported by research that can transform your regular cup of coffee into a metabolic aid that helps you save muscle. This may be the most crucial thing you hear today if you're over 65 and want to maintain your strength, independence, and level of activity without using drugs. Why is this important now? Because sarcopenia affects more than simply your appearance. Your metabolism, balance, fat-burning capacity, risk of falling, and insulin resistance are all impacted. As you age, muscle is really one of your most defensive tissues, so maintaining it is essential for longevity as well as mobility. However, the majority of people are unaware of the true cause of their muscle loss. I'll tell you what's actually happening within your body. Your body naturally gets less effective at converting protein into muscle after the age of 60. We refer to this as anabolic resistance. Even if you're exercising and eating protein, your cells aren't receiving the message. There is no muscle regeneration. You decompose more quickly than you fix. What, then, should we do? It turns out that there is a vitamin that can help you increase the signal that builds muscle, and you can easily incorporate it into your morning coffee. I'll explain what this nutrient is and why it's so important for seniors in this video. How sarcopenia is reversed inside your muscle cells. The ideal form and dosage, timing, absorption, and outcomes, as well as how to combine it with coffee for optimal effect, are all covered by the research. Why, despite eating healthily, the majority of seniors skip this stage and become frail. And lastly, a comprehensive plan to regain your strength, beginning with a single, easy daily routine. This is a realistic, scientifically supported method that can assist you in naturally regaining your confidence, energy, and muscle. I also urge you to subscribe if you find this useful. Every day I provide articles like this one to empower you to take charge of your health by using metabolic techniques that address the underlying causes. Let's now go over the science and demonstrate exactly what you should put in your coffee the next day. It's not totally accurate to assume that muscle loss after age 65 is a natural part of aging. While it is true that muscle mass naturally decreases with age, aging isn't the main cause of seniors' rapid strength loss. It is referred to as anabolic resistance. I'll use a straightforward analogy to illustrate this. Imagine your muscles like a house that need daily maintenance. Your body sends in builders, amino acids, enzymes, and hormones whenever you eat protein when you're young in order to repair it, erect new walls, and strengthen the structure. However, your foreman stops reacting to the signal after 60. When the workers arrive, they are ill-prepared. Over time, the house, your muscle tissue, begins to deteriorate more quickly than it is being repaired as the repair process slows down. Anabolic resistance is what that is. As you age, your muscle cells lose their reactivity to signals from proteins and exercise, and this resistance rises. This is what SEPs actually do within your body. Your body converts protein into amino acids when you eat it. These amino acids, particularly leucine, activate the mechanistic target of rapamycin, mTOR pathway. Your body uses mTOR as a switch to develop muscle. It signals the growth of your muscle cells. However, mTOR activity declines with age. When you're 70, the same amount of protein that would help you gain muscle doesn't work as well. Therefore, you may be losing muscle even if you are eating enough protein. Sarcopenia is therefore more than just a dietary issue. There is a signaling issue. In order to get the same anabolic response as younger individuals, Older persons need 30 to 40% more leucine-rich protein per meal, per a review published in Nutrients. Here's the good news, though. We can naturally overcome this physiology if we comprehend it. Steroids are not necessary. Your protein intake doesn't have to be tripled in a single day. All you have to do is make your muscle cells more sensitive to the growth signal. This is where the coffee strategy for today comes in. We're going to present a vitamin that bypasses part of the resistance, activates mTOR directly, and improves the way your body uses the protein it already has. Clinical studies really demonstrate that, even in the absence of exercise, seniors' rate of muscle protein synthesis rises dramatically when they take this particular amino acid in the proper form. Before we do that, though, let's briefly discuss something unexpected. Coffee in the morning is more than just a source of caffeine. In fact, it might be the best metabolic instrument for sending this signal for muscle repair. If this is helpful thus far, please think considering subscribing before we discuss the nutrient. Using functional medicine and root cause techniques, I create new films like this one every day to empower you to take charge of your health in a natural way. Let's go on to the main component of this plan, the vitamin you will start adding to your coffee tomorrow. We are referring to L-leucine, a branched-chain amino acid, BCAI, that is one of the most important stimulants of muscular growth in the human muscle. Although I am aware that you, Seb, have heard about protein powders and amino acids previously, most people, including many medical professionals, do not take them into consideration. At best, leucine is just another amino acid. It is the master switch that instructs your body to begin muscular growth. I'll use a straightforward whiteboard analogy to illustrate this. Consider attempting to light a fire. All the wood in the world is yours. Your protein is that. But it just lies there without a spark. Nothing takes place. The spark is leucine. Leucine triggers the mTOR pathway, which we discussed previously, telling your muscle cells to begin growing, repairing, and rebuilding when you take enough of it at once, especially in the morning. The best part is that this is possible even if you don't exercise. Of course, resistance training intensifies the impact, but research has shown that even in sedentary or sitting older persons, supplementary leucine alone can promote muscle protein synthesis. Leucine supplementation increased muscle protein synthesis by 16 to 30% in older persons compared to those who did not, according to a 2020 study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. That's significant, particularly if your body has developed a resistance to the protein found in typical diets. Here's the catch, though. A threshold dose of leucine, usually 2.5 to 3 grams per serving, must be consumed all at once in order to activate mTOR. That is the same as consuming roughly 32 to 40 grams of high-quality protein in one meal, such as 5 eggs or a whole chicken breast. The majority of seniors miss the anabolic window because they don't consume enough protein at breakfast. This is where your coffee in the morning comes in handy. You can just mix 3 grams of L-leucine powder into your black coffee in place of attempting to have a large protein meal first thing in the morning. It has little taste, dissolves readily, and begins to function in 20 to 30 minutes. Without a large meal, you receive the signal for muscular growth. Since leucine doesn't induce a substantial insulin rise or break your fast in the conventional sense, this is particularly effective if you're undergoing intermittent fasting. It supports muscle preservation while maintaining a state of fat burning. In summary, leucine triggers the primary signal for muscle growth, mTOR. In order to overcome anabolic resistance, older folks require more of it. 3G is rapidly and effectively delivered when taken in the morning with coffee. The best part is that you'll probably see a difference in a matter of days, including increased energy, improved stability, and even less stiffness after simple activities. Perhaps you're asking why coffee? Why not simply consume leucine with breakfast or water? This is what your physiology and the science tell us. Your body uses and absorbs nutrients, including leucine, more efficiently if you take advantage of the peculiar metabolic environment that your first cup of coffee in the morning generates. I'll explain this as a whiteboard for functional medicine. You are in a state of fasting when you wake up. It's not a terrible thing that cortisol is normally high and insulin is low. Cortisol promotes mental clarity and the release of stored fat. This is when things start to get interesting. Caffeine raises blood flow, activates the sympathetic nervous system, and momentarily speeds up metabolism. If the proper amino acids are present, this results in improved signaling via the mTOR pathway and quicker nutrient absorption. Therefore, combining leucine with black coffee improves transport into muscle cells and speeds up absorption through the digestive tract. Your body is at its most responsive when you activate mTOR. Similar to adding kindling to a fire right before the first flames appear, this combination produces the ideal metabolic spark. But this is effective for another reason. Coffee, particularly black coffee, is free of glucose and competing amino acids that could block the leucine signal. Leucine causes insulin to increase, mTOR to become confused, and the muscle-building signal to become jumbled when taken with a high-carb breakfast, such as fruit or oatmeal. Leucine combined with fasting black coffee sends a clear, unmistakable message: gain muscle. According to a 2022 study published in Frontiers in Physiology, older persons who took leucine in a low-insulin state, such as during a morning fast, saw a substantial increase in mTOR activation and muscle protein synthesis compared to those who took the same amount later with a mixed meal. Since many seniors already drink coffee out of habit, you're simply improving an existing practice rather than creating a new one. This raises the likelihood that you will continue on a regular basis, which is essential for achieving tangible outcomes. Make your morning coffee as usual, preferably black or with unsweetened nut milk, to make this work. Add 3 grams of powdered pure L-leucine. Seek out pharmaceutical-grade. Mix thoroughly. It readily dissolves in heated liquid. For optimal effects, drink it within 30 minutes of waking up. You can maintain and even rebuild lean muscle with this one shift without making your morning more complicated or stressful. Now, if this is useful to you, think about liking and subscribing to this video. Every day, I share simple, scientifically supported methods like these for anyone who is serious about taking back their health in a natural way. Let's discuss the specifics now that you know why leucine is the catalyst for muscle building and how your morning coffee provides the ideal delivery route. Which type of leucine is the best? When and how much should you take? Let's go right to the point. Form is important. Select powdered L-leucine in its free form. Not all leucine is made equal when it comes to supplements. Instead of mixes, BCAA capsules, or whey protein that contains a small amount of leucine, you want pure free-form L-leucine powder. Why? Because your body needs a precise therapeutic dose of leucine supplied promptly in isolation in order to overcome anabolic resistance, especially after the age of 65. Leucine is frequently insufficient in protein powders per scoop, and the muscle signal is weakened when combined with other amino acids or carbohydrates. Seek out a supplement with L-leucine listed as the only ingredient. Pharmaceutical-grade, flavorless, and third-party tested is ideal. It should be free of additives, sugars, and fillers and dissolve in hot liquid. 2.5 to 3 grams per serving. How much? This is the leucine threshold dose, which is the quantity needed to start muscle protein synthesis or to activate M2. This dosage is similar to what younger people would typically make from a high-protein diet. However, it needs to be purposefully supplied in older persons. A brief visual analogy is provided here. mTOR can be compared to a garage door. Young folks can simply raise it with a slight push. The spring in elderly persons is worn and requires more force to move. Your 3G dosage of leucine is that additional pressure. When should I take it? First thing in the morning. I refer to the first 30 to 60 minutes after waking up as the anabolic window. Your hormones are primed, your digestion is clean, your body is insulin sensitive, and no competing foods are obstructing the signal. For this reason, leucine's absorption and impact are maximized when combined with black coffee during this time frame. Extra advice: leucine can be consumed by itself and won't cause a noticeable increase in insulin if you're on time-restricted eating or intermittent fasting. It helps maintain muscle mass during fasting, which is essential for losing weight without sacrificing strength. What should I not do? Steer clear of leucine when eating high-carb meals like cereal, toast, or fruit smoothies. Blends of plant or whey proteins that already include gums, artificial sweeteners, BCA, or other ingredients that hinder intestinal absorption. At one set, cold beverages dissolve easily. Within 10-14 days of utilizing this technique regularly, most patients report increased energy, toned muscles, and even fewer leg cramps or falls. The finest part comes next. It is not necessary for you to take it forever. Your body naturally becomes more receptive to protein once you have restored your power and metabolic sensitivity. Now that the form, dosage, and timing have been established, let's discuss something much more fascinating. Why might this coffee habit be the secret to correcting insulin resistance and increasing metabolism after age 65? What else occurs within your body when you keep muscle? You know by now how leucine in coffee can aid in muscle recovery after age 65. Here's what most people don't know about SIPs. Strength is the only factor that affects muscle preservation. It has to do with hormones, fat burning, blood sugar, metabolism, and even your brain. Let me explain why this easy coffee routine has advantages that go well beyond the mirror, and what's actually happening within your body when you lose muscle. Your main metabolic engine is muscle. Muscle tissue uses 3 times as much energy as fat, even while at rest. Therefore, even if your food remains unchanged, losing muscle causes your basal metabolic rate to decrease, which results in a decrease in caloric expenditure. This is one of the reasons why, even with a good diet, many people acquire weight more quickly after the age of 60. It's a muscular issue rather than a food issue. Here's where things come together. SIPs: reduced muscle mass, decreased glucose absorption, and increased insulin resistance. The primary location for glucose storage is muscle. Your body uses muscle tissue to absorb and buffer the sugar each time you consume carbohydrates. Because there is nowhere for glucose to go when that muscle mass reduces, it remains in the blood, which leads to persistently elevated insulin. Over time, this results in increased triglycerides, prediabetes or diabetes that onset budge, cognitive fog and exhaustion, abdominal fat, and cellular aging that is accelerated. However, the reverse is also true. Insulin sensitivity is restored as muscle is rebuilt. Without altering your diet, even a 10% increase in lean muscle mass can significantly enhance fat burning and blood sugar regulation, and that's precisely what this coffee and leucine habit aids in. It gets better, though. Maintaining muscle also promotes hormonal balance, particularly for growth hormone, DHEA, and testosterone. Less strain on bones and ligaments results from stronger muscles and joint protection. Studies on cognitive function indicate that having more muscle improves memory and reduces the incidence of dementia. Muscle aids in the production of myokines that reduce inflammation. Sarcopenia is increasingly regarded as a risk factor for weakened immunity in older persons. To put it another way, muscle is an organ of longevity rather than just tissue. Seniors with greater muscle mass had a 40% lower risk of all-cause mortality over a 5-year period, according to a 2021 study published in the Journal of Cachexia, Sarcopenia, and Muscle. Therefore, even though a tiny amount of leucine in your coffee may seem insignificant, it's actually sending a powerful signal to your entire body. Let's continue to be strong. Let's continue to be resilient. Let's maintain our youthful metabolism. We'll combine everything into a single, easy daily routine in the following part, so you'll know precisely what to do the following morning to see results. Thank you, and if you're still watching, please think about liking this video. It helps people like you find it and motivates me to continue offering useful, root-cause solutions every day if it's providing clarity and value. Let's follow the step-by-step approach to a successful conclusion. Let's combine everything into a single, easy-to-follow routine that will have the biggest impact with the least amount of work on your part tomorrow morning. This is your morning routine for leucine and coffee to combat sarcopenia and regain your power beyond age 65. First step, get up. Drink plenty of water. First, have a glass of water with a squeeze of lemon or a pinch of sea salt within 5 to 10 minutes of waking up. Your natural morning energy hormone, cortisol, is subtly stimulated, your body is rehydrated, and digestion is supported. Step 2. Make your coffee. Make your usual cup of black coffee without any additional sugar or heavy cream. Black is best. Use unsweetened coconut or almond milk if necessary. Simply stay away from anything that contains chemicals that hinder absorption or raises insulin levels. Step 3. Add 3 grams of powdered L-leucine. Measure out 3 grams or about 3/4 of a teaspoon of pharmaceutical-grade L-leucine powder. While your coffee is hot, stir it in. It has no taste and melts best in heat. For optimal mixing, blend the coffee for a short while if you have a sensitive palate or texture. Step 4. After waking up, drink it within 30 to 60 minutes. Time is of the essence. Your body is best prepared to absorb nutrients, burn fat, and promote muscle growth during the first hour of the day, particularly while insulin levels are low. Eat 30 to 60 minutes later for best results. To increase fat burning, you can continue to fast for a longer period of time. However, when you do eat, make sure it's a high-protein meal that includes eggs, grass-fed beef, or wild-caught fish, along with low-starch veggies and some healthy fats. Step 5. Little motion. Powerful but optional. Even light resistance for 5 to 10 minutes. Exercises like tension bands, wall push-ups, and bodyweight squats help speed up muscle activation and increase M2. Consider it as a way of reminding your body to maintain the strength of the muscle you are utilizing. The secret is consistency. Before evaluating the results, follow this routine for 2 to 4 weeks, at least 5 days a week. The majority report feeling stronger legs, reduced weariness or soreness following a walk, improved stability of blood sugar, as well as a discernible shift in body tone. An added bonus. Many people report feeling happier and having more mental clarity in a few days, which is probably because their brains are processing glucose and mitochondrial energy better. Furthermore, this does not imply that you must immediately change your diet or engage in strenuous exercise. This is about regularly and daily giving the correct signal to your body. Although muscle doesn't go away overnight, if you establish the correct internal environment, it can be restored more quickly than most people realize. Additionally, this is among the simplest methods for adding a scoop of leucine to your coffee each morning. Let's review our findings and explain how this small adjustment to your morning coffee might help you feel more invigorated, prevent muscle loss, and regain your strength after the age of 65. What exactly is SIPS actually doing within your body? Anabolic resistance is a syndrome that occurs after the age of 60, when your muscles stop responding to growth impulses. Since the mTOR pathway is thought to be completely engaged, eating protein by itself frequently isn't enough to start muscle growth. One particular amino acid, leucine, functions as a spark to activate that growth switch. Your morning coffee, particularly when you're fasting, offers the ideal metabolic window to effectively absorb and use the leucine. but only if you consume enough of it at one sitting. You may boost metabolism, increase insulin sensitivity, and stimulate muscle building by mixing 3 grams of Leucine into your coffee. All without altering your daily schedule. Why is this important now? Because your metabolic engine is muscle. It burns fat, it controls blood sugar levels, it keeps your bones safe. As you mature, it keeps you moving with self-assurance and independence. Aging is accelerated by muscle loss. However, even a small amount of construction adds years to your life and years to your life. Furthermore, you don't require pricey protein powders, a gym, or large weights. You require the appropriate nutrition, the appropriate signal, and the appropriate timing. This Leucine Plus coffee protocol provides you with that. This is your challenge now. For the following 7 mornings, try it. Get up, drink plenty of water, make a cup of black coffee, add 3 grams of Leucine and stir. Not required. Spend a few minutes moving with minimal resistance and simply see how your body reacts. Vitality, power, stability, even mood. Monitor your emotions. Check to see if stairs are easier, if you feel more stable on your legs, if your energy levels and appetite remain constant throughout the day. Then consider what that would signify in 30 or 60 days. It's not just muscle here. 1 cup at a time, it's about taking back your metabolic youth. Do me a favor and like the video if it was helpful. Things makes things easier for others to find. Join the channel by subscribing. Every day I share this and other science-backed solutions with friends and parents who need to know about muscle loss. We can naturally treat it. It's not simply aging. Continue to be resilient, inquiring, and health-conscious until the next time.